We've got the new Santa Fe PHEV from Hyundai.
Hyundai and Kia pushing forward with so many options if you want some kind of electrification. Andrea, oh there, you pushed it so hard the gas engine came on.
It's my problem. It's a real big problem with me.
It's gas, it's electric. What's under the hood, Andrea?
A 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with an electric motor. It's got a combined total horsepower of 261 and 258 pound-feet of torque. It gets 50 kilometers of range, 30 miles, standard all-wheel drive, and you can put regular fuel in this Santa Fe.
So in Canada, this plug-in is only sold with 2 trims. It comes nicely equipped. Let's get into the key standard features.
The base model comes with an 8-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto, leather seating surfaces, heated front seats, a leather-wrapped heated steering wheel, 8-way power driver and passenger seats, a spare tire, LED headlights and LED taillights, blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic alert, and forward collision avoidance assist.
I love it! All of the buttons and switches. I'm a button and switch guy. You can keep your tablets. I like a button. Andrea, what are we putting it in?
You gotta put it at S for subscribe. And if you can hit the notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe, and also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below. This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below. Wouldn't you know it, we get going and we go right into a construction zone. Stop and go, bumper to bumper traffic. But it's good because this is exactly where a vehicle like this excels.
Yeah, for sure. It's a quiet cabin. It's comfortable. You know, you're not using a lot of EV range in stop and go traffic because you're not accelerating hard.
Now, I joked about it a moment ago with all the buttons and switches, but the dial here gives you all kinds of modes, and it does affect the way this drives.
Well, you can put it in hybrid mode or you can put it in pure EV. It has Eco, Smart, and Sport. What I find about the hybrid mode, and you put it in Sport, I went up some pretty steep hills, and I found that the Sport mode was a great one to be in. It gave me that extra push that I needed. Not to say that Eco and Smart don't give sufficient power. They do. I just found Sport a little bit better.
Well, that's bringing the best of everything together.
Yeah.
You're getting the most torque from the electric motor and the most output from the gasoline engine. The one I like the best is when you put it in subscribe. See what I did there?
Yeah, put it in subscribe. Hit that notification bell.
Now, what about the way it handles? And it's kind of heavier because it's got the battery on board, but I like the calibration of this. I've mentioned it when we did the regular gas, the turbo version, not the regular one, the turbo version, that it has an appeal, I think, and vibe to this that appeals to maybe slightly older buyers.
Sure, I mean, I think that makes sense. You can say that just based on the interior and all of the buttons and not having a digital cockpit. I prefer this over the hybrid model. It just feels a little bit quicker to me, that torque from the electric motor. Even though the hybrid has an electric motor, this feels quicker. So what do you think of the look, Zach? Do you like it?
Well, I do like it. I mean, I'm kind of torn between the Tucson has that very futuristic front grille with the way the daytime running lights are embedded into the grille. I mean, that's a very cool look, and it's angular and sharp.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, this has more of a traditional look, and you're going to hear me mention this a few times. I think it's skewing a little bit older.
I really like the look of this, that big, bold chrome grille. I know some people don't love it. I'm a big fan of it. It has a bit of a Palisade vibe to it. It has chrome accents on the window and on the door handles. I think it looks sharp.
But when you get inside, that's the real showstopper. And Andrea and I, both of us, we were talking about this on the way here to do our on-camera stuff, is that we had the BMW X3 last week. This interior has nicer materials than that BMW.
And I just want to mention that was the M40i, so that is around $82,000. And these seats are just more plush and the leather is nicer.
And this has got a vinyl wrap dash. It's got nice materials on the doors, on the center console. It's a different take, but the materials that are used in this, I think, are actually better.
And this offers a lot of value. Even at the base trim, you get a lot of standard features. We've got the top trim that we're test driving.
Of course we do, Andrea. We always get the top trim.
And that's where you're going to find ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, a wireless charger, the 12.3-inch digital driver display, panoramic sunroof, and the proximity activated tailgate as well. I think I like that.
How come in Canada, we don't get the big screen?
Well, Zach,
What's
we
the deal?
just don't. We get 8-inch. That's it. The 10.25-inch touchscreen is available in the US. I prefer that touchscreen. It has nothing to do with size. I find it easier to use. It's more intuitive.
It's an odd choice
Yeah.
that Hyundai Canada decides not to bring in the bigger screen. There's one plus side to it. I'll tell you that. What it is wireless Android and wireless Apple. They're what the? There's one advantage. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They're what the? There's one advantage. This smaller screen gets wireless Apple CarPlay. They're what the? There is one advantage. What the? Okay, you ready?
Okay. I don't know if I'm ready because I'm just going to laugh too hard. Okay.
There is one advantage with this smaller screen. You get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. When you get the bigger screen, for some strange reason, it's plug-in only. So you decide whether you feel like we're getting ripped in Canada, without the bigger screen, or you like this because it's wireless.
Well, you're not getting ripped in the US because you get the option of both.
So I would call this almost mid-size or intermediate. There's not a lot of vehicles like the Grand Cherokee, the Edge, or the Murano.
Yeah.
This, I think, competes with that because the back seat is a biggie.
Well, it's really spacious. 41.7 inches of legroom. You can certainly stretch out back there. Great for a family.
And the cargo area is big too.
Oh yeah, it just eats up our carry-on in a cooler. Interestingly enough, it's the Tucson that has more cargo space behind the second row. That is a big vehicle.
And you can lift the floor. There's storage bins under there. Maybe a place to throw in that charging cord if you don't want to leave it in the cargo space. We have some great questions and some feedback from an owner of this vehicle.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Would love to hear whether you prefer this to the RAV4. Seems the Santa Fe offers more interior space, a more adjustable passenger front seat, and in my opinion, a nicer interior. What do you think, Zach?
Well, if you're basing it just on amenities, Santa Fe wins hands down by a long shot.
Yeah.
But then Toyota has in its favor two things: more range, and what's the other one, Andrea?
The Bank of Toyota. You put your money in, you get your money out.
The problem we have with this is, Hyundai and Kia are kind of newer to the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid game.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the RAV4 Prime is a new product as well, but they've been doing hybrid for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's really what it comes down. If you're just on amenities, move the seat up and down. Andrea.
Yes,
show us
look
how it
at
works.
a height adjustment on the passenger seat. Look at me go.
The RAV4 Prime top banana didn't have that, and the back seat is massive.
Interestingly, I did a poll on Instagram
Oh, I
this
love
morning.
those.
I know you do, Zach. And I did it between the RAV4 and the Santa Fe interior and the Sorento and the Santa Fe. So take a look at the results. What is the back seat space like? Similar to the current one? It is. This is the same. The 2021 and the 2022 models are the exact same, and they offer more second row legroom now than the 2020 model.
You know what? I'm going to say it again. This, in my opinion, is targeted to the Gen X and older crowd, more established, maybe want a little bit more luxury. They charge a slight premium, not much.
No.
But I think the styling of the outside and especially the inside will appeal to traditional SUV buyers. I think that Tucson is trying to skew younger.
And that could be it. We've got lots of buttons and switches in here where the Tucson is digital.
But my mother-in-law, who's not a millennial, just bought a Tucson.
Yeah, and Zach said she's not going to like that digital cockpit. And I said she loves it. So there you go,
She
Zach.
hasn't got it yet.
But she's been in
All
one
right,
and
no,
she
no.
loves it. Our next one isn't a question, but it's from a follower who just bought the Santa Fe PHEV, and he's had a lot of great feedback, so I'm going to read it out. I picked up mine on October 21st with a full tank of gas by the dealer. Since then, I've clocked about 900 kilometers, and I still have a quarter tank of gas left with 122 kilometers to go. I charge it every time I return from any city trip, and a couple of hours and it's ready for another trip. Fortunately, I have access to a level 2 charger for free. Nice. It's averaging about 2 to 2.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which is better than what you're supposed to get because most of my trips are short in the city. I love the torque and the acceleration while on EV. However, when it's in gas and hybrid mode, I find it a tad bit sluggish and not as refined as in the EV. The interior feels plush, and I have been enjoying it thoroughly.
Well, there you go. There's first-hand review from someone who actually put their money down.
Yes.
And yeah, there you go. There's the feedback. I think it's great feedback. And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Can you talk about the rebate you can get on PHEVs, and is this through the government or your dealer, and which amount will you get back?
So we're going to break this down as simply as we can. There are rebates for full electrics and there are rebates for plug-in hybrids.
Yeah.
And the first one that you want to think about is everybody in Canada, if you have a plug-in or an EV, qualifies for the federal rebate.
Yeah, and that doesn't matter what trim it is, as long as the base price is under $45,000. So if you get this top trim that we're test driving, you still get the rebate. Now, provinces also pile on with a rebate, and it is easier at this point to tell you the ones that don't get it. Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. All the other provinces have joined in now.
The most lucrative rebates are in the province of Quebec. For full EVs, they throw an extra $8,000 on top. It's
That's
crazy.
unbelievable, isn't it?
And they wonder why that's where they're selling the most EVs. You give people money to buy a car, they'll take you up on that offer.
They sure will. Now, not every PHEV qualifies for the full $5,000. It's based on battery size. So if a PHEV has a 15 kilowatt hour battery or larger, it qualifies for the $5,000. This Santa Fe PHEV has a 13.8 kilowatt hour battery.
Just missed it.
So you only qualify for $2,500, but it's still good. Something like the RAV4 Prime has an 18.1 kilowatt hour battery. You get the $5,000.
Now, we're not going to go through every individual province and what you get. So just know that this vehicle in Canada gets $2,500 from the feds, and then you add on a provincial rebate depending on what's offered in your province. As we mentioned, Quebec gets the most lucrative one.
Now, if you're worried about paperwork, how do you get these rebates? It's all done at the dealership. And it even works with a lease. If you get a 48-month lease, you qualify. If you get a 24-month lease that most people never get anyway, you only qualify for half of that federal rebate.
The good news is there's more and more plug-in hybrids available in the market every year. Let's go through some of them.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV with a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine plus 2 electric motors, a combined 221 horsepower and 39 kilometers, 24 miles of EV range. It has a starting price of just over $44,000.
Next up is the Toyota RAV4 Prime with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine and an electric motor combined for 302 horsepower, but it has 68 kilometers, 42 miles of EV range, and it starts at $44,500.
The Kia Sorento PHEV with a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder and an electric motor, a combined 261 horsepower and 51 kilometers, 32 miles of EV range. It has a starting price of just under $45,000.
Another Korean cousin is the Hyundai Tucson PHEV with a 1.6-liter turbo 4-cylinder and an electric motor, a combined 261 horsepower, and it gets 53 kilometers or 33 miles of EV range. It has a starting price of just under $44,000.
So there are 4 plug-in hybrid SUVs for you to consider.
So buying an EV or a plug-in is a bit of a spreadsheet calculation, so you need to know the vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. The base model starts at just under $45,000, and this top luxury trim is $48,500. Here's a breakdown of the charging times. With a 120 volt level 1 outlet, your charging time is 10.5 hours. And with a 240 volt level 2 outlet, it's 3.4 hours. JD Power has not rated this plug-in hybrid yet, but the 2021 Santa Fe gets a quality and reliability score of 81 out of 100. CarEdge states the Hyundai Santa Fe will retain 50% of its value after 5 years.
Here's the fuel economy. This PHEV earns a combined city and highway rating of 3.1 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers. That's 76 miles per gallon equivalent. With the battery depleted, it gets 7.1 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 7.3 on the highway. That's 33 miles per gallon city, 32 miles per gallon highway. Towing capacity is 2,000 pounds, and the warranty is 5 years, 100,000 kilometers, or 60,000 miles. Lightning round. Two things we like to see improved.
Well, I love the smooth as silk drive.
I love the fact there's more options now in the marketplace.
What I'd like to see is the option of a 10.25-inch touchscreen.
And the other dislike? I can't think of one.
Is that good? Wow, another hit from Hyundai. Spacious, comfortable, and a very smooth ride.
They're pushing hard with regular gas, of course with hybrid and now plug-ins, and there seems to be a lot of interest. This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.